The last thing I need is the added stress of printing family photos. Fortunately, I use Chatbooks, the app that automatically turns my Instagram photos into adorable photo books. Think about all those photos you've already posted to your Instagram account. That's a whole collection of Chatbooks waiting to happen. Just connect your account, review, and order. Holy sweet Meghan Markle, it worked! Chatbooks. Live your life and let Chatbooks print it, one $10 book at a time.
Hi, and welcome to the Models of the Future Workplace with Silicon Slopes. Our episode today is sponsored by R0. R0 is an amazing technology that's killing COVID, fighting bacteria, doing great things in terms of helping people to get back to work and into the office. Check them out at r0.com. I'm thrilled today that we are joined by a serious homie, co-founder and CFO, Chief Fun Officer of Homey, Mr. Mike Peregrina.
Thank you so much. That intro was amazing.
You're amazing, and Homey's amazing, and so your intro should follow suit, I suppose. We're really excited to talk today about, first of all, you come from a fast-growing, super cool tech real estate company, right? And you have been scaling your business in the midst of COVID, and your business has grown. How much has it changed in the last 12 months? Where were you at number of people-wise, back at the beginning of 2020 versus now?
I think the
you're,
number
you're
was...
head of people as well, right?
Yes, you could call it that.
Yeah.
I think the number was 260, and we just crossed the 400
Wow.
threshold.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you doubled the size of your company during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Pretty phenomenal growth. We're not going to dive into the business model of Homey, but let me just say, sum it up for us in a few words. Business model of Homey. Go.
Yeah, Homey is your one-stop shop real estate platform. We can help you buy, sell, get a loan, refinance that loan, and have a wonderful closing experience, all in one place.
You're just like the Homey for your house. You got our back, right?
Perfect.
Okay, so it is the future of transactions in real estate, and if you've ever sold or bought a home, you know that that's not always smooth or simple. I happen to know these guys and really like them. I should mention, my name is Arian Lewis. I'm the CEO of Kiln. We're a flex office and co-working company based right here in Lehigh, Salt Lake, and just opened this week in Park City.
Nice.
We have about 250 tech companies in Utah, small and medium and some large, that are based with us at Kiln. And we create an awesome lifestyle for the companies that choose to work at Kiln. So let's talk a little bit about 200 new people, huge growth. You did this, was it done primarily remotely? Tell us about what happened to your company in terms of workplace strategy when the pandemic hit.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to share, it was a team collaboration, right? Is everyone had very unique experiences around current situations, and then the growing economy and growing businesses. I had a very unique experience in 2008, so I kind of seen some scary things, looking down the barrel of a gun, if you will, and that felt similar, right? So
It did feel a little similar.
right? A little eerie.
Because I happen to know you were in Las Vegas in 2008.
That's right.
1 out of 7 homes went into foreclosure.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Little different dynamic, obviously, but it did feel like we were staring at another crazy economic shock.
That's right. That was rough. But that felt familiar to me, and I felt comfortable in that situation, as a lot of entrepreneurs do. And my partners, Johnny and Mike T and Joe Grover, the first thing we wanted to do is make sure that everyone was accounted for on the Homey team, that they were safe, that they were healthy, that no one, got contaminated. And the second thing is our customers, because of our business model on the sell side, we thrived because it's all virtual. As a matter of fact, our listing agents, you may not ever see them in person, but you have the app, email, chat, all that good stuff to communicate, and we do amazing things there. So in one way, we were already positioned for that growth and sort of that opportunity. On the buy side, however, a lot of consumers do not buy real estate sight unseen, so you put them in cars, you go visit the home, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 over the weekend, and that we knew needed a change. So we wanted to make sure that we followed governor's orders, the CDC, and took the best recommendation for people's safety. So what we did is we limited our open houses. We limited the people that joined us in a home tour to 2 adults, no kids, no elderly people, because we realized that would create some not best outcomes for them. And then what we wanted to do is make sure that they were in the right situation to buy a home, right? And our actually conversion rate doubled on the buy side because of that. And then all the other business lines are virtual. So again, we were well positioned for that opportunity, but I'm maybe oversimplifying this, but it was very hard times. Like for 4 weeks, we did not sleep. I know personally, I maybe slept like an hour a day because there was so much uncertainty into that, But given the business model and the virtual dynamic to it, we were well positioned to thrive.
Yeah, I can empathize with that. I'm in the office business, so to speak. It was a bit concerning. So what did your company do in terms of, well, you went virtual, right?
Yes.
Mostly virtual. Now you're coming out of it. You've gone through a tremendous amount of growth. You do have a very large team. Tell us about what your current workplace strategy is.
So currently is to maintain everyone working from home. Obviously, we want to follow governor's orders and make sure that we're abiding by that, and obviously getting up to speed on all the vaccination and CDC rules. But I believe everyone's yearning to go back. I know I miss it.
To go back to the office.
Back to the office full time.
And dive into that a little bit more. Why do you think your team is yearning for that? What is it that's driving that?
Yeah, I think it's communication and relationships. I really do miss, and this is probably more at the senior management and executive level, because we're so used to running into each other and just having a little workout session with the whiteboard and going through some things and having those side conversations.
It's the spontaneous.
Yeah, a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
So what we've decided to do is have offsites, right, to make sure in a very safe way and environment where we can get the team together and then just have these jam sessions and ideations and making sure that our strategy is intact and that we're executing, right? But the real estate business, as you know, you have a lot of experience here, it's a nights and weekends business, right? Especially with our demographics and our customers.
And it's a lot of problem solving constantly.
Oh, constantly.
Which I hear what you're saying about going away, but I also think that you're probably right that there's this spontaneous kind of, oh, hey, I'm dealing with this today. What do you think? Kind of those conversations are harder to do virtually.
That's right.
And then you can't necessarily plan them into an offsite because they're just coming at you every day.
Yeah, that's right. And that's
especially if you're scaling at the rate that you guys are scaling. You would have been adding 2 or 3 employees a day.
Sometimes more. Yeah, I think the Monday morning orientations are getting bigger and bigger, which really do lend themselves well for virtual, right? Because then you don't need a bigger office space, bigger voice space, right? So there's definitely pros and cons. A lot of the pros is, a lot of our loan officers, a lot of our real estate agents on the sell side and buy side, we're working remotely anyways because of the nature of the beast, if you will. Our title and escrow business, our closing experience, a lot of first-time home buyers and first-time home sellers are really excited to come into an office, a closing room, and sign those documents.
They don't want to just DocuSign it.
Yeah, they don't. They really want that experience, and we want to provide that. So that's one of the part that we do miss that is happening. But there's a lot of remote notary and a lot of the virtual things that we're able to do through the technology and the platform has been really helpful, right? And it's sort of expediting this sort of digital transformation a lot sooner than one could probably think it was going to happen.
I think that's a really good point. The pandemic really did accelerate our adoption of good digital technologies and practices. Now, culturally, what is it that you feel like so tell us what you're going to do with your workplace strategy. Is everybody going to come into work? Is it like totally flexible? And then Why are you pursuing that strategy? What is it that you want to achieve culturally?
So I think the strategy, when we're able to go back to normal, and let's just say that's August, let's just assume that that's the case, people are vaccinated, everyone feels comfortable, and there's, all these good things happening. What we want to do is provide flexibility, because we have seen pockets of businesses in our business do better from that, right? What we have been able to do is really speed up those things where people don't need to come into the office, but still have their training intact, orientation intact. So that strategy, I think we're going to pull out some of the things that have worked. And then for some pockets of the business where people do need to communicate more often, we'll definitely do that.
What pockets do you think those are?
Some of the engineering team that I've talked to, which has been surprising to me, really want to come back into the office, right? And it's
surprising because they're already very digital in terms of the work that they do.
You hear a lot of these stories, like a bunch of monitors coding through nighttime, putting pizza under the door,
sure,
and all these good things. But like your marketers, right? Your product folks, people like me, we want to be next to each other and jam and really have that chemistry and reinforce the culture. But I think with that opportunity to reinforce the culture, I think it also puts you in a best position. It stress tests the culture. So what we've tried to do, especially early on with COVID, was communicate often. So every week we had a town hall meeting. Every single week, because we know that we needed to communicate to our employees the health of the business, the health of the economy, where the business was going to turn and go to and evolve. So more communication. And then we got to the point where it's like, that's too much. So we felt comfortable with that. Okay, we know what that boundary is. So then we pulled back to maybe every 3 weeks. And now, we're once a month where we have a company meeting where we talk about the whole business and communicate and also give recognition. That's one hard part that we definitely have missed, is the recognition, getting everyone in a room, and you hear the applause and the high-fiving. Across the street from one of our offices, there's a hotel, and we, every other month, the room would be bigger and bigger, right? The partitioners would go back, and seeing that live has been really, really cool. So definitely do miss that piece, but all the learnings, take what's worked, kind of leave back what hasn't. And I think flex office space is a part of that thing, especially as we continue to grow.
Good.
Yeah. I think so, because real estate is local, right? St. George is a little bit of different flavor of real estate, as Phoenix is a little bit different than Las Vegas, as Denver is a little bit different than Idaho, and that's what we operate. We have flex office space there, so
we should talk more about Phoenix, Idaho, and St. George at some point.
We should.
But you know what? 86% of respondents to a recent large survey said that 86% of companies are going to explore flex office in some way. Yeah. Let me just ask this one final question to you. There's this researcher, professor named Edgar Schein, and he wrote a paper on culture. And what he defined culture as is the way we get things done around here. How do you think the way we get things done around here has changed and will benefit through a flexible workplace strategy for Homey?
So I think that you realize that you don't have to hop on a plane, go see someone, go spend dollars on a dinner, sales, and not that there was too much of that.
Especially as you're expanding to new markets, right?
Yeah, so it forced us to pay attention to the details in our playbook and expansion strategy, right? So how do you get from A to B to B to C, but more importantly, that gray area between the A and the B, so that you make sure that you cross every T and dot every I. I think that's what sort of COVID and this new environment and workplace has forced us to do, because you have to over-communicate and you have to make sure that people understand, because you're not in the same room where you can see the body language and say, I could see that you didn't understand that, what can I do better? It's hey, this is, we've really gone to the nth degree to drive that message through and then create engagement that way. So it doesn't surprise me that 86% of people say they're going to explore that. We have flex space in every single one of our expansion markets, and I think that's where we're going to be able to grow forward.
Okay, 1 year from now, COVID is hopefully kind of like, I don't want to use 9/11 as an example, but we have a lot of residual from 9/11. We're just leaving Afghanistan now. We've got checkpoints at the airport. So there's definitely going to be some continual residual effect of this pandemic. What do you think is going to be the workplace strategy for your business 1 year from now?
I think it's the flexibility for each manager to run their team the best way they see fit under the strategy of the business, right? Whether it's OKRs or the way you're moving and KPIs and goals, but giving them that flexibility, which is kind of what you want anyways. You don't want to micromanage people, but it really reinforces culture and it reinforces the hiring process, right? Are you really going through a robust and rigorous process? That works for your business, by the way. It may not be the same for everyone, but I know that I've put forth way more energy now in hiring people that I have the opportunity to bring on, and I put a lot of emotion and energy into that. It's draining sometimes, but I do it because I love it. I think it puts more stress on that piece and making sure that you are hiring, autonomous people, right? That just can execute, that you don't have to micromanage. And then again, giving the manager the flexibility on saying, hey, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, maybe we come into the office. And we're literally exploring that, with one of our HR heads. That's what we're doing right now, is what does that look like? But we know that the flexibility is going to be a part of it for sure.
And what percentage of your workforce would you guess in 1 year, we'll come back in a year and ask you, is going to be working from the office at least 3 days a week? What percentage?
We'll be working
from the office
a year
at
from
least
now.
3 days a week.
At least 3 days. A year from now?
Yeah.
A year from now, at least 3 days. I think it's probably 70%.
70%. You know what's funny? That is a pretty consistent response. And so it feels to me like 70% of the workforce is going to go back to the office, but probably will want the flexibility to work from home a day or two a week.
Yep.
And then 30% of the workforce will be comfortable remaining at home, which, depending on the industry, that's gone from 5 to 30% or 10% to 30%. But it has been a meaningful bump. Probably accelerated a trend that was already coming, but a pretty meaningful bump. Yeah. Well, Homey is a company we should all be watching very closely as they continue to march into new markets. How many new markets did you enter this last year? How many markets do you think you'll enter in the next 12 months?
So Las Vegas, Denver, and Boise within the next 12 months. And then we'll do Texas, North Carolina, and Tennessee in the next 12 months.
And these are major market entries. We're not talking like we're setting up a little store. What they're doing is they're seriously disrupting the way that homes are sold in these markets. What percentage of homes this last year in Utah were a Homey transaction?
So we're the number one broker in the state. We have about 7.5% market share.
That's significant, guy. If you're talking about the entirety of the home sales market, that's very impressive. Number one broker in the state, and hope that you guys will go check out Homey if you are looking to make a change with your home. That said, thank you for listening to this podcast and conversation on models for the future workplace. And we again appreciate our sponsor, R0, R0.com. Super cool technology, making the workplace safe. And hope you have a great day. Cheers.